Recession. When we hear that word, we often tend to panic. Our mind goes to places where we never thought it would go before. We think that we're going to be in a famine. We think that we're going to be left out on the street homeless. But it's not that severe, guys. And I'm going to talk about ways and how you can plan ahead if there is a recession this year, which may happen after Trump's presidency, let's be honest. But you don't need to panic. There are definitely things that you can put into place to make your life so much easier and actually even make you feel better off than what you did before the recession happened. So first of all, what the heck is a recession anyway? Essentially what it is when the economy shrinks for 2 quarters. So the GDP may drop for a couple of quarters. That's essentially what it means. But in reality, what happens is businesses slow down, people may lose jobs, and things may become more expensive. But here's the thing, recessions don't last forever. And over the last few decades, there has been a few recessions and we've come out the other side grand. You just have to make sure you're not caught up in the chaos and that you slow down and plan for it before it can happen. First things first is to build an emergency fund for yourself. I often talk about this, but how many people here in the audience have an emergency fund? It did take me a while in my early 20s to finally get to a place where I felt like I had enough money there as a buffer in case anything went wrong. Especially if we go into a recession this year, we want to make sure that if there is any genuine emergencies, like our car breaking down and we can't go to work, or even the worst case scenario, if you got made redundant, you need to have 3 to 6 months of living expenses in an accessible account. An accessible account is something like a high yield savings account, okay? So in the UK, for example, I have a 4.5% interest rate on my high yield savings account. They can go as high as 6, 7, 8%, but some of these accounts are fixed interest rates. And what that means is you have to keep your money in there for 1 or 2 years. And these are the things we want to avoid when we want to save for an emergency fund, because the whole point of an emergency fund is that we can access it really quickly if anything goes wrong. But if you're putting it into 1 or 2 year fixed accounts, that means you can't access it for a couple of years when you need it, okay? So that's a bad idea. So have a look at your interest rate at the moment that you have in your savings account. Is it a mere 1%, which can happen if it's just your local bank, okay? Or are you in a more reasonable, higher percentage, and that is actually growing interest over time? And to work out your living expenses, essentially all it is every need that you have in that month. And a need is not sushi, it's not clothes, it's not new sunglasses, right? I'm talking about your rent, your mortgage, your bills for your home, like your internet, electricity. If you have a car that you need to get to work, the cost of that car and insurance, and things like health insurance or home insurance, or if you have any minimum repayment loans, they are also a need that you need to factor in because you need to keep paying those. So if all of your needs add up to £3,000 in the month at the minute, a 3-month emergency fund would be £9,000 and a 6-month emergency fund would be £18,000. So yes, that can be an awful lot of money, but it's really important to have that in the back burner as a buffer in case anything goes wrong. Number 2 is to cut back on unnecessary spending. Right now is the best time to do that before a recession hits. So if you're spending a lot of money on subscriptions that you don't even watch, or that gym membership that's £100 but you never go, things like this you can totally just cut out right now and save the difference and pop into your emergency fund, because you can access a lot of things for free on the internet. For example, if you pay £100 for that gym but you never go, but you do want to keep exercise every now and again, you can of course do workouts on YouTube for free. There's this girl that I recently found. I don't know her at all, but she seems super nice, right? And I've been doing her workouts, honest to God, for like the last few months, and they're so good. I either do them at home or I do go to a gym that I do use and do pay for, but it's only £36, so it's grand. I even do the workouts there. So I'm even thinking about, just cancelling my gym membership, even because I use it, because I can get this for free. Other things that eat up a lot of money for unnecessary spending is eating out a lot. So I recently did a video on how you can save up to 40% on your food bill at home. So even if you cut back like 2 brunches a month, right, and that costs, let's say, £60 over the frame of a few months does add up to a lot of hundreds of pounds that you could be saving there for your future self. So it's not about not having any fun at all in the lead up to a recession. It's about being a little bit smarter with your money, especially if you have zero in an emergency fund or very minimal funds. You can even make it fun. You could have these little challenges with yourself to try and find the least expensive activities around your city. For example, in London, you can go to places like Sky Garden, which has these exotic plants on this high-rise building and overlooks the whole of the city, and you can go for free. Or even cinemas. You can still go to the cinema if that is your one true love in life, right? But they do 2-for-1 tickets in some independent cinemas now if you go during the week. So just being a little bit more conscious of where your money is going, still having fun on the lead up, right? but of course, putting more money into your back burner. So number 3 is tackling current debt. If you are rolling a credit card debt right now or have a really high interest loans, now is the best time to try and tackle it and get them paid off before a recession hits, because you don't want to have to think about that 30% interest on that credit card when you're deep in a recession. And there's a few different ways that you can do this. You can do the snowball method or the avalanche method. I do a video in detail into this if you have debt at the minute and want to just pay it off really quickly. I'll pop it in the description below. Once you have paid off a real debt like that and totally cleared it, it will psychologically make you feel so much better and motivated. So whichever option, the snowball or the avalanche method, whatever is best for you, it really depends on, how you are as a person. If you want a quick win, tackle the smallest balance first. But if you want to mathematically pay less money over time, tackle the high interest rate first. But it all depends on you guys, what you want to do and how you function as a person. The next tip is to diversify your income. In a recession, relying on just one income can be a little bit detrimental, because if you get made redundant in that recession period, you may really find it hard to get another job because less companies may be employing people. So setting up other streams of income before a recession hits is the best way around this. So for example, this YouTube channel, I don't make any money at all from this yet because I'm below the monetary threshold, but hopefully I shall reach that threshold soon, right? But if I hopefully get monetized in the next few months before a recession hits, it's another stream of income that will help me in the background. And same with you guys. You can of course set up a YouTube channel, anything that you're good at. And if you don't feel like you're good at anything, you should really think again. No matter what your job is, maybe you're really good at Excel spreadsheets. You could do tutorials on YouTube on showing people how to use Excel, for example. Or maybe you're really good at knitting. You could do a whole YouTube channel about teaching people how to knit from scratch. Or maybe you don't want to be in a camera, and that's totally fair enough because it can be a bit daunting, right? You can maybe teach guitar lessons to, local kids in a school. There's loads of different ways that you can earn extra money, even walking your neighbor's dog, which I did for many, many months and got a good few hundred from it, right? So it doesn't have to be daunting or work yourself to the bone. It's really important to understand your energy levels and not to burn yourself out, because that's not what we want to do either. It's about finding things that we're actually passionate about and good at, and just using our time in a way that we can make a little bit extra money to help ourselves out before anything big happens in the world like a recession. The next tip is to invest, but be smart. Try not to lead with emotions with investing. So if you see that your index fund like an S&P 500 is really in the red right now, which it is when you look at it, don't lead with emotions there. It's really important not to pull out money based on fear or because you're panicking and you're fearful that you're losing money. But the whole thing with investing is that it's a long-term strategy. So if you're in your 20s or 30s or even 40s and you see a bit of a dip in an S&P 500, for example, you shouldn't pull that money out and lose money. You should ride the wave, because there will always be peaks and troughs in the market. You have to be patient with investing. And if your vision is you're going to take that money out in your 60s and you're only 30 now, of course you shouldn't take that money out. You should just ride the wave. But of course, it's really important to understand what you're investing in. So if you're investing in an individual stock like just Tesla, for example, or something like cryptocurrency, I think they're very volatile and I personally don't invest in those things. So just understand your risk tolerance, what your goal is with life. Do you want to retire early? Is that your real goal with your investment money? Or do you want to have an easier life? If you want an easier life, maybe volatile stocks like cryptocurrency is not the place to be for you, and really just assess where your money is and that you fully understand what is happening with it. The next tip is to focus on your mental health. It can be a really scary time, especially now with Trump presidency, global tariffs that are going on, uncertainty in the world, maybe even uncertainty in where you work. So if you're finding it really stressful at the minute, maybe step away from the news. If you have Sky News or BBC News on in the background every day, you're of course going to build up stress with that time. So it's important to focus on what you're actually feeling at the minute. Do you do meditation? Do you do yoga? And if that's not for you and you don't want to do any hippie stuff like that, even just going for a walk or just watching something different. You don't always have to watch the news, because honestly, a lot of the time it's really stressful and just bad news is on the TV, okay? So maybe just use that time in a different way. Your mental health is your wealth. So if you feel like you're going down a path where, you don't know which way to go, it's important to maybe speak to a therapist and speak to individuals that are professional in this area. Things that I like to do for myself is just honestly journal. I journal a lot now, because if I don't really know how I'm feeling, if I can write it on a piece of paper, I will soon find out, okay, what has been stressing me out, and then I can fix that problem. But of course, do seek out a therapist therapist if you feel like your mental health is maybe going, spiraling down, because no one should ever have to feel that way. And it's important to look after yourself. And there's no amount of money, someone can give you for your mental health, okay? It's worth the world. So of course, pay for a therapist, look after yourself, and it's important to do exercise, because things like exercise you can do for free on YouTube. But if you feel like your gym membership is something that you absolutely love and need, never cancel that, because it will attribute to your beautiful mental health, and it's important to look after that. Do you guys have any other recession tips that I haven't covered? If you do, pop them down below. If we've any people who have, been through a recession before and it hit them hard, I'd be really interested to know how you dealt with it and what you're going to do before the next recession comes around. It's really important to understand that recessions are temporary, okay? And they're not going to last forever. So it's important to plan ahead in advance before they happen, so it'll give yourself a little bit better peace of mind, look after your mental health, and have buckets of money there that will help you if anything was to go wrong. I'll pop a video here which I think will help you on your wealth journey. I tend to post a couple of videos a week, guys, so if you want to learn more about investing, managing your money, and also financial wellness, I'd love if you could subscribe. That would really help the channel out. I'm slowly getting towards that 1,000 subscribers, so I'd really appreciate it, but no pressure. Thanks guys, I'll see you soon though. Bye, take care.